Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just before we start watching this video, or just before you start watching this video, a couple of words about the purpose of this video. This is meant to help you program this task, and I'm going to be going through and I'm going to be sharing my thinking as I go. If you absolutely need to, you can sit and code along with me. But I think you would be much better off using this to zoom through the video to find the bit where you're stuck and just look what I do and then turn the video off again. I don't think you should just watch it start to finish. Use it as something to dip in and out of. Okay, so I've got Thonny on one side here, and on the other side I have the pseudocode and the introduction. So you will remember that the point of this is to do our internal documentation. So I'm in fact just going to grab this description here. You'll notice that I've started that there, and I'll get to the end. Now, I also notice, and you've probably noticed this too, that my view, I in fact am not, oh goodness, what's it called? Where you wrap the text. For some reason my text is not wrapping. And that's probably okay for now. I've got my text at a reasonably big size. So, having a look at this. So it says the first thing that I do is I print ordering and billing system. Well, that is what the pseudocode says, but I'm not just writing out the pseudocode. I'm writing the program in Python. And I'm actually going to define my variables first. So, define my variables, and let's have a look at my pseudocode. So it wants me to set this thing as a global variable called items. Now, in Python, anything that's not defined within a function or within a loop is already a global variable, so I'm just going to define that. Then I'm setting it to 0, which is done. So I've defined it and I've set it to 0, and likewise total I'm going to set to 0. Now, I'm going to run my program because it's never too early to run it, and happily there are no mistakes. So I've defined those. Now, while keep ordering equals true, now this is actually an error in my pseudocode. I do need to create a variable called keep ordering that's going to equal true. And you'll see that it changed color there when I type true the right way. And again, I'm just going to run it. Good, no errors. You'll notice actually I've got this weird file name here. It doesn't really matter, but it's better to have a sensible file name. So I need to define keep order as true before I can run a loop. So while keeping order, which I'm actually going to call, what did I call it here in the pseudocode? Keep ordering. So I'm going to make sure that my variable names match what's in the pseudocode. So keep ordering and keep ordering. Yep. While keep ordering, yep, equals true. Now you'll notice that true there did not change color, so I typed it the wrong way, and I put the colon on the end. There we go. Now, if I test it here, it's actually going to fail because there's nothing here under that loop. So I'm going to need to put something in there. So there's nothing wrong with the code, it's just incomplete. So I say on here, print dish name and then get the string. And that's fine as an explanation of what I'm doing in pseudocode, but in actual fact, I can't do that in Python. Python just doesn't work that way. So first of all, I'm just going to make sure that my indenting is right here. Yep, there it is. I tab in. So I'm going to get a variable called new item, and I'm going to get it from the user. So what is the item? There we go. And this is not part of the final program, but this is so that I can see what the computer's thinking. I'm going to get it to print the new item. So let's run it. Okay. So input, what is the new item? Terminated. I forgot to put the talking mark there. That's fine. And I run it again. What is the item? Well, let's have a burger. What is the item? Chips. Yep. So that continues to go, and that's what I want. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. I need to save that in an array, and I know it's an array because it's got hard brackets there, called dish price. And my pseudocode probably should have been clearer that I need to set up these arrays. In some languages you do, in some languages you can just start using them. In Python, you do need to set them up. So it wasn't expressed in the pseudocode, but as we translate it into Python, we do actually need to go in and do that. So dish price and dish name. And I will probably actually go back and change the order of that, not for the code, but for my human brain, so that I'm creating them in the order that I use them. And again, just going to run it to make sure it works. Yep, burger. Yep, chips. Good, still working. So when I collect it, I now need to add that to the array, which at the moment is empty because I defined it as empty. So what I'm going to do is just grab myself a research window over here. Let's see where my browser is. I think it's busily doing various things. There it is, research window. And I'm going to work out in Python how to add to an array. Now, you'll notice we've got a whole bunch of different things here. I really like W3 schools. I think it's super clear. So this is talking about arrays, and I scroll down, length of an array, looping an array, adding array elements. So cars dot append, and I'm adding Honda. Okay, well, let's have a look at my code. So I'm not adding to cars, I'm adding to dish name. So dish name dot append, brackets, and what I'm appending is a new item. New item, there we go. And once again, I really want to know if this works or if I've written bodgy code. There we go. What is the item? Burger. Okay, so I haven't broken the code yet. So I'm actually going to take out that business there. I'm going to comment out the print new item so that it doesn't run. Now, I'm going to do the same thing for the price. New item. No, it's not new item, it's new price. And I'm collecting it with an input. But this time, I actually want it to be a float. So I'm going to need to go and change what is the price of this item. And you'll actually see I made a couple of errors there. I forgot to put my talking marks in, and I forgot to make it a float. So let's fix one thing at a time. What is the price of the item? Yep. And I want it to be a float. Yep, that changed color, which leads me to believe that I typed that in right. There we go. And I'm going to print that price. So print new price. So now I should be able to enter an item and a price. Let's see if that works. So what is the item? Chips. And it is $12.45. And it printed the price. Excellent. So those two things are working. Now, of course, I also need to append that to the array. So dish price dot append and new price. There we go. So now every time this runs, I'm adding to that array. It's an indexed array, so it's going to be index item 0, then 1, then 2. But because they've got that same number in it, that item number, then it's going to be, then they're going to match when I pull them out again. Now that I've done that, I actually want to increment the item number. Now, I actually don't know. I saw people doing this in class today. Increment Python. I think I saw something. How to increment number in Python. There it goes. They're just talking about x equals x plus 1, but I believe, there it is. So, plus equals. Let's just have a quick look at that. Plus equals is a convenient way. I might just have a very quick look at that and see how they implement it, because sometimes the bit that you get dragged across, so counter plus equals 10. Okay, so I reckon it's plus equals 1. And let's see if that works. So again, looking at my code, so item plus equals, I think 1. Now let's see if that runs, or if I've busted it. Okay, burger, $10. Item is not defined. Well, that's because it's items. Okay, again, we run often so that we discover these things. Burger, $10, beautiful. That appears to be working. Terrific. So, time to look back at my pseudocode. So, where are you, pseudocode? So, I've done that. All of this is done, down to there. print, order another item, and get the value called choose, and then I'm going to change it to lowercase. So let's go through and add some of my documentation. So keep ordering as long as this variable is true. Got a bit of a typo there. I better fix that up now. Terrific. Okay. I'm just going to leave myself a paragraph, but we are still indented. We are still in the thing we want to be happening again and again. So I said that I want to ask them a question. So choice or choose equals, and I'm actually just going to copy and paste the text straight out of the pseudocode. There we go. There it is. Yep. And I'm going to change it to lowercase, which is what I'm doing down here. And again, I'm just going to hit my browser again, and I'm just going to have a quick Python change to lowercase. There we go. Lower, yep, that all looks pretty good. I'm just going to again have a look at the page and see. A bit annoying when it checks who I am, but that is what it is. I just want to see the code in action. So I'm scrolling through. There it is. So movies string lower. Doesn't actually tell me as much as I'd like to. How to make that? All right, I'll have a crack at that. So I think what I do is I say choose. So choose, I'm redefining this variable, equals choose lower. Okay, let's see if that runs. So the item is a burger, which I've just miswritten. Okay, so that appears to work. But it didn't ask me to choose another thing. So I'm just having a look at this. Choose equals, good work, Mr. Omar, input. That's why it was not. Equals the input of that. Okay, so let's try that again. So I run it, I put in my burger, I put in $10. Do you want another thing? Well, yes, I do. And I'm going to put a capital Y. There we go. That's all right. So that is working. So now that I've collected that, I need to go back to my pseudocode. Now I'm going to check the value. And if the value is not Y, then I'm going to change that Boolean. All right, so let's do that. So again, I actually find it really useful to kind of talk myself through the logic. So I'm going to go across here and I'm going to put a comment. Do they want to keep ordering? I'm not really explaining the code. I'm just putting in some guides for myself so that I know what to do. So if choose equals Y, actually if it doesn't equal, because if it does equal Y, I'm just going to continue, but if it doesn't equal Y, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip that keep ordering over. Yep. And I'm going to tell that to equal false. So that's my if statement then. So now if I don't put Y, if I put anything but Y, it's going to flip over that Boolean and we're going to break out of this loop here. So let's give it a quick test and check that it works. So there's my order, there's its price, no, and there you go, I've broken out of the loop. So now that I'm out of the loop, I'm going to come back here, and so I'm all the way back to the edge, so this is the action that's not going to repeat, and I'm going to run myself a loop for I in range, and I'm going to count up to whatever items went up to, because that's the number that's been going up every time we add a new item to the array or to their order. So I just want to explain what I'm doing here with the for loop. I'm going to run through the items in the array. So as you see up here in lines 12 and 13, the array started out empty, but I've been appending it and adding items, and they get an index number that goes up. And that index is actually this variable here called items, which we're incrementing every time we order something. So that if I've ordered 10 items, then items will equal 10. And so I'm doing a loop up to the value of 10. And then I'm printing, and I'm just going, I think of this as stitching it together. So I'm going to say the name of the dish, so dish name, and I'm pulling the value out of the array, so that I will stand in for the number. Then I'm going to have a little bit of text in the middle, just for the sake of formatting. And then I'm going to have dish price, and I'm going to put, and of course that's pulling it out of the array as well. So this should work, but let's see. That's fine. So print dish name. So dish name is up here. Dish name was never closed. Okay, what do you mean it was never closed? I never put the brackets on. Okay, too easy. So let's go again. So let's get me a burger for $10. Let's have another thing, which is let's have chips. They can be 5. Then I'll have another item, thank you, and I'll have a Coke for $3. And then I'll say no. There we go. So it's printed out my burger there, and there. Now, what I would probably do is I'd actually probably round those off. It's not here in it. I actually round off for the total, but I'm not rounding off there. But I'm going to have a quick look, and I'm going to round to 2 decimal places for when I print that, because I would really like that to look neater, to be sort of fit for purpose. So let's find myself a screen that I can do some research here. So Python is the name of the language I'm using. Round to 2 decimal places. There we go. How do I do that? Stack Overflow. Yeah, I was kind of hoping for something a little bit easier, but let's have a look at Stack Overflow. It's certainly some good information in there. The round function. So, round brackets, the variable that I want, comma, how many decimal points I want it to. So, going back to my code, let's see if I can remember that. So, round brackets, what I'm presenting to 2 decimal places. Okay, let's see if that works. So I'm just going to order a burger this time. Burger? No. Oh, so it's rounding, so it'll round it down, but it doesn't round it up. Oh well, we might just have to live with that for now. There's probably a way around it, but that's okay. So that's it. I have gone through and I've presented all of the items, and the very last thing that I need to do, just going and having a look at my pseudocode as I should, is I'm printing the bill total. So there we go. Print. Open my talking marks. Bill total is, comma, total. Oh, I don't think I've been calculating the total actually. I probably need to go back and do that, because I think this is probably going to break. There we go. So I'm pretty sure, I'm just going to do a quick Command F and see if total appears. Yeah, doesn't. So back here when I'm ordering, when I get the price here and I'm putting it in the array, I actually need to increase my total. So my total is going to equal my total plus the price of the new item. So new price, so that it's always going up. And just having a look here, I don't think that's in my pseudocode. So that's an error in my pseudocode there, that we in fact haven't been incrementing that variable. And I didn't discover that until we coded it. So let's run it again and see if it works. Let's get me a burger for $10. No, I don't want another thing. And the total is $10. And I will just put the $sign in there. Now, this program works. Let's have a look at what we're actually here for, which is the documentation. So, yep, this program does all of that. I'm defining my variables. I keep ordering as long as this, I'm going to say rather than this variable, as long as keep ordering is true. I'm just going to collect the name of the item. What's this? Yep, so I've done all of that. So I'm actually just going to put a space there just to paragraph it. What is the price? Okay, so collect price of the item. Down here, do they want to keep ordering? Okay, so down here, I'm going to put another comment. they have stopped ordering new items. Items. I'm going to put another comment saying showing, it's not how you spell that, showing items one by one. And then down here, I'm going to put another one that says show total. Again, not how that's spelled and not how that's formatted. Showing total of bill. So there you go. My program works, but more importantly, I've got all of this documentation here so that somebody else can come in here and work with my program. So I hope this has been useful to you.